Krishna Chaitanya Gauratvishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyeva Cha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। कितना 30 minutes तो पीछे ले लो और थोड़ा अच्छे दिखेगा। ओके, हरे कृष्णा। थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर अलाउइंग मी टू बी all with both of you. all of you बोलने के लिए ज्यादा लोग नहीं। So we'll discuss from Canto 2 chapter 1 onwards. So we have 10 days with us. We'll try to see as much as possible. So the first chapter of Canto 2 entitled as the first step in God realization. Description of the first description of the universal form. The universal form has been presented in the second canto 3 times. That's why the name is given as like that. So in the first chapter, after describing what one should do and what one should not do in general, then for a person who is about to die, the process of meditation on the parts of the universal form, such as the feet, practiced as part of Ashtanga Yoga, is described. So what is that? Why it is presented like that? We'll understand in due course of time as chapter goes ahead. So before that, of course, here the chapter breakup, second slide. So not chapter breakup, this is canto breakup. So I have given you one book. What was the title of the book? The first one. Yes, Rupanuga Prabhu, what was the title of the book?
Seeker's Journey,
Spiritual Seeker Journey, nahi, Bhagavatam as a Seeker Journey. So in that, every canto has been given one title. The title for the first canto was Preface to the entire Bhagavatam. And the title for the second canto is Introduction to the entire Bhagavatam. So basically, how Srimad Bhagavatam was first revealed by Lord Brahma, the Lord Narayana unto Brahma, and then Brahma to Narada, Narada to Vyasa, and all that coming in discipline succession. That is the subject matter for the second canto. So second canto contains 10 chapters. In the first 3 chapters, Bhagavatam describes the excellence of bhakti over Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Devata worship. So the position of bhakti vis-a-vis other popular paths has been established in the first 3 chapters. And then 4th chapter gives a hint of how this scripture known as Srimad Bhagavatam was originated from Lord Narayana. A hint was there. And then chapter 5 to 7, there is a conversation between Brahma and Narada in order to answer the queries of Parikshit Maharaj. Sukadeva Goswami speaks the conversation between Brahma and Narada. And then the 8th chapter, Parikshit Maharaj makes many relevant inquiries about Bhakti and Bhagavan. And then in the 9th chapter, instructions of Lord Narayana to Brahma. So basically, in order to answer all your queries, my dear Parikshit, I need to speak Bhagavatam. Then Parikshit asks, what is Bhagavatam? Parikshit Sukadeva Goswami said that Bhagavatam was originally spoken by Lord Narayana to Brahma at the very beginning of the creation. in 4 shlokas. That is known as Chatushloki Bhagavatam. And that was elaborated and explained to Narada Muni. And Narada Muni elaborates and explains to Vasudev. And Vasudev elaborates and explains to his son Sukadeva Goswami. And that Sukadeva Goswami now speaking to Parikshit Maharaj, that Bhagavatam. So this is like parampara of the Bhagavatam. And finally, Sukadeva Goswami says that Bhagavatam, which I am going to speak to you, which will be answer to all your questions, will have 10 principal characteristics. As part of a Purana should contain 10 characteristics. So this is the breakup of the entire second canto. And this you can find in the book also. So same thing is there in the niche paragraph also. So Bhagavatam second canto starts with Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So can you read the translation?
O my Lord, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. So before this, there is introduction to the entire second canto. Some points from the introduction. In the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the principles of creation are described, and thus the first canto may be called as creation. Srila Prabhupada writes in the introduction to the second canto of Bhagavatam, mentioning that first canto talks about creation, though it can be called as creation. And then he says that in the second canto, the post-creation cosmic manifestation is described. The different planetary systems are described in the second canto as different parts of the universal body of the Lord. For this reason, the second canto may be called the cosmic manifestation. Close the hard binding. You see what is the title given to the second canto?
Cosmic manifestation.
There are 10 chapters in the second canto. And in these 10 chapters, the purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam and the different symptoms of this purpose are narrated. So the main subject matter of second canto is the purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam and different symptoms of this purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam. That all you need to tell what is that. This will be one of the grand test exam question. The first chapter describes the glories of chanting, and it hints at the process by which the neophyte devotees may perform meditation on the universal form of the Supreme Lord. So all these points are mentioned in the purport to this particular line. And then from the introduction, few more points. Introduction by Srila Prabhupada at the beginning of 6th canto. So into the introduction to 6th canto, again Prabhupada writes few points about these titles. Throughout Srimad Bhagavatam, there are descriptions of 10 subject matters, including creation, subsequent creation, and the planetary systems. Srila Sukadeva Goswami, the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, has already described creation, subsequent creation, and the planetary systems in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th cantos. Srila Prabhupada, saying in the 6th canto, he says that creation has been described in the 3rd canto. Subsequent creation has been described in the 4th canto. Planetary systems have been described in the 5th canto. Now, in the 6th canto, which consists of 19 chapters, he will describe, Sukadeva Goswami will describe Poshana or protection by the Lord. So, at the end of the 2nd canto, in the last chapter, 10th chapter, we will see this verse, whatever is there, that we will see there. Atrasarga visargasa chanam proshana mutaya nirmanvantaresha anugata nirodho mukti rashriya. There Sukadeva Goswami says that in this Purana there are 10 topics known as creation, secondary creation, protection, mercy of the Lord, material activities, conduct of the Manus, stories of the Lord, destruction of the universe, liberation and ultimate shelter. So these are the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. So according to Srila Prabhupada, or according to Srila Prabhupada's Jaladuta diary, which Prabhupada wrote during his travel to US. There he talks about what should be the titles for all the 10 cantos. Canto 1, the absolute truth. Canto 2, symptoms of objectivity. Canto 3, creation of material world. Canto 4, the sub-creators. Canto 5, the planetary system. Canto 6, Lord, the protector. Canto 7, creative impetus. Canto 8, change of manpower. Canto 9, the science of God. Canto 10, Krishna, the cause of all causes. Canto 11, the path of liberation. Canto 12, the summum bonum. So this is what Prabhupada thought. Okay, in the future when I write all the cantos, I will name like that. In the 6th canto, he mentioned about the titles for the 3rd canto as creation, 2nd canto subsequent creation, 5th canto as planetary systems that are matching. But to the 2nd canto introduction, whether it is Prabhupada saying or some of the BBT editors have written introduction to 2nd canto and they are saying we don't know. So they are saying that 1st canto is called as creation, 2nd canto is called as what the title? Creative impetus? Cosmic manifestation. So like that. So many times devotees ask this question: why 1st canto called as creation, 2nd canto cosmic manifestation, etc. So Gauram Prabhu also asked this question once during our Vidyapith. Gauram Prabhu told that whatever titles we see in the book, BBT book, cover page, the titles are given by BBT, not by Prabhupada. Prabhupada thought about the titles in Jaladuta diary. So this diary was found afterwards, later on, after Prabhupada left. So, but still the same titles are continuing. But whatever it is, but according to my understanding, I gave new titles. So that are there in that book. So in my all days discussions, I use those titles only. I'm not using the titles of Prabhupada also, not the BBT titles. So new titles. Of course, they are not different from Prabhupada titles, but they are same only. But primarily based on the content, which is given more importance, more weightage in that particular canto. Based on that, the title was given.
What did Prabhupada give in his diary, Prabhu, for 2nd canto?
Symptoms of objectivity. है ना आपके पास slides है ना? You open the 3rd slide. You see the slides.
Oh, okay.
I'm going through slides only.
Okay.
So all my discussion is based on slides only. Don't worry. Slides are for you.
I was trying to write the notes.
You can keep the slides in front and write notes, which Ankit Prabhu is doing here.
Okay.
So how 1st canto ends? Any idea? Little louder.
He's asking question to.
Who is asking whom?
Parikshit Maharaj is asking the question to Sukadeva Goswami. Please tell me now. Please let me know. What is the duty of a person who is about to die? Or for all the people in general, what I should remember, chant, and glorify.
Then, plus, what I should eat, where I should sleep, what I should drink, what I should do throughout the day, with whom I should speak, with whom I should not speak. Okay, here is the verse. Ata pruchami samsiddhim yoginam paramam gurum purushasya yatkarya muriyamanasya sarvada. So read the translation.
Oh Master, please tell me.
Oh, kahan se? 1937.
1937, sorry. I ask, Atha Prichhami.
Oh no, don't read what is in the brackets. Just read the translation.
The Supreme Guru of the Yogis, what is complete perfection and what is to be done at all times for attaining that perfection for a man about to die?
Ata purchami yoginam paramam guru. So my dear Guru of all the Gurus, I am asking you, please tell me what to tell. Samsiddhim. What is the highest perfection? And then Siddhi means perfection. Samsiddhi means complete perfection, 100% perfection. There is nothing beyond that. Vaisa perfection. And Purushasya Iha, for the people in general who are in this world, Yat Karyam, in order to attain that highest perfection, what kind of activity they should follow? They should perform. What kind of sadhana they should follow? Okay? And especially Muriyamanasya. For the people in general in this world, Sarvada, at all times what they are supposed to do, and especially for a person who is about to die, then what he should do at all times. Keeping himself in the mind and keeping people in general in the mind is asking. So there are two questions asked by Parikshit Maharaj in this verse. What is the complete perfection? What is the means or sadhana to attain that complete perfection? Why is asking this? A few minutes before, he had the same question to the assembled sages. Among the assembled sages, some said, "Oh, my dear king, you should perform karma. You should go to Swarga and enjoy." Some said, "No, what karma? There is no time to perform karma. Abhi yajna karna hai to bahut elaborate arrangements karna padega. Itna time nahi. You should practice jnana. You already renounced. You should practice jnana." Then some said, "Jnana cannot be practiced without proper renunciation." Some said, "No, he has taken renunciation. That is forced renunciation. That is not natural renunciation. So he cannot practice jnana." So some said, "No, he has not much time. You only have 7 days. You should practice yoga. You will attain perfection." Then some said, "He is not trained in yoga. How will he practice yoga?" And some said, "Bhakti, you should practice bhakti." Yeah, yes, he can practice bhakti, but he don't have much time. He only has 7 days. How can he practice bhakti? Somebody said like that. He has no facilities also to do deity worship and all those things. So then every different people are coming up with a different solution. So they are confused. Then, understanding the predicament of Parikshit Maharaj, they all prayed. So it seems that we are all giving wrong solutions to him. So since he has not much time, since he is a great soul, he should be given proper direction. They prayed for a person to come do the needful. Then Sukadeva Goswami suddenly arrived there, as if answering to the prayers of all the assembled personalities there in the assembly. Then Parikshit Maharaj accepting Sukadeva Goswami as his master, making him sit on the high seat, then making this inquiry. So my dear sir, please tell me what is the complete perfection, not some intermediate perfection, not Sarga, not Brahman, not Vaikunta, but what is the complete perfection, full perfection and completeness, and what is the means to attain that complete perfection, and what are the different activities that sadhana should contain, and what are the different prohibitions that sadhana should contain. That also you tell me, do's and don'ts, instructions and prohibitions. Yes, Shrotavyam Mato Japyam Yat Kartavyam Nrubi Prabhu Smartavyam Bhajaniyam Va Bruyava Yadva Vipareyam Bruyi Yadva Vipareyam. Oh Master, please tell me what men must hear, chant, remember and worship. Also, what they should not hear, chant, remember and worship. What are the do's? Consisting of hearing, chanting, remembering and worshipping. And what are the don'ts? Consisting of what one should not hear, what one should not chant, what one should not remember and worship. So, in essence, there are 4 questions. What is the highest perfection? What are the means to attain that? What are the different practices of that sadhana? And what are the regulations of that sadhana? 4 questions, and the 4 questions are answered in the reverse order in the next 2 chapters by Sukadeva Goswami. Establishing where what way stands where. Because the sages answered, some said karma, some said jnana, some said yoga, some said sadhana bhakti, some said this, that, so many things. So among all these 4 popular sadhanas, which stands where? What is the relative position? That is being indicated in the next 3 chapters. The position of bhakti vis-a-vis with other process has been established by Sukadeva Goswami at the very beginning of his conversation. Because he is going to speak about bhakti in the rest of the Bhagavatam. So it should be established what bhakti is all about, where it stands in relation to other process. Otherwise, one may have doubts. So mainly bhakti. So then, this is a chapter breakup. This chapter contains about 37 verses. You have different sections, and we'll be discussing section wise in the upcoming slides. So now, in the first 11 verses, Sukadeva Goswami answers Parikshit Maharaj's questions in brief by establishing the superiority of bhakti. So in these 11 verses, Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadeva Goswami will answer what one should not do and what one should do. The last two questions will be answered in this section. And the remaining 2 chapters is all about the remaining questions. Shri Shuka Uvacha Varyan Eshate Prashna Kruto Loka Hitam Nripa Atmavit Sammata Pumsham Shrotavya Dishuyapara. So read the translation. You can read. You have book.
Okay. Your question is most excellent. Your question, which is the highest among all such questions, is beneficial for the people and approved by the assembly of Devis.
Varyan Eshate Prashna. Your question itself is the best question. Varyan means Varishta. Among all the Vaishnavas, the elderly Vaishnavas, we call them Varishta Vaishnav. So Varyan means the best. Why it is best? Kruto Loka Hitam Rupa. This question itself will offer auspiciousness to the entire world. How? How can you say that? Atmavit Sammatam Pumsham. All the Atmavit, the self-realized sages approved this Sammatam. They have expressed their Sammat. This question is approved by all the self-realized sages. And Shrotavyadishu Yapara. And this question itself is best among all what one supposed to hear. Then question itself is so much, then what to speak of the answer. So like that, he's asking. At the end of the previous canto, Parishit Maharaj asked, what is the perfection and the means to attain that perfection? And what is to be heard, chanted, remembered and worshipped? As well as what is not heard, chanted, remembered and worshipped. These are the different questions. So now, Sukadeva Goswami was rejoiced with this question. This is the best question. There is nothing better than this. It is the best. Superlative degree is used. Varyan. There is nothing better than this question. The questions asked by you are beneficial to the people in general. This is not a material question. This question corresponding to spiritual benefit. And this is approved by the sages present in your assembly, who are the knowers of Atma, because they have come here for that purpose only. All the sages have assembled here to understand what is the highest perfection, how to attain the highest perfection. Otherwise, they don't have any other work or what. They have come all the way from Marloka, Janloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka, all the way here. They also want to know about what is the highest perfection and how to attain that. That's why it is the best question. It is meant for the benefit of everyone in the entire universe. Since they all approved this question, that's why they still remain here. If you have asked some ordinary question, they could have got up and left. So, jarurat nahi, sunne ka nahi. Since they are all continue to sit here means they all approved it. Even the questions asked by devotees should be heard, chanted and remembered. Among the questions about what to be heard, chanted and remembered, this is the best question, the ultimate question, because there is nothing higher than this question. That question alone, if heard, chanted and remembered, will make people completely successful. Furthermore, by hearing the answer given by me to that question, you will become successful. You may not find everything as it is in the purport. These are all notes, our Vidyapit notes. Okay? You will not find it. No. So basically, the essence of the entire purport will be in the form of notes. So don't worry. Thus, later it will be said, just as Ganges, later means in 10th canto, it will be said that Vasudeva Katha Prashna Purusham Strin Punatihi Vaktaram Pruchakam Shrotrim Tatpada Shallam Yata. Just as Ganges emanating from the lotus toe of Lord Vishnu, Lord Vamana, purify the 3 worlds, the Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka and Swargaloka, by the questions about the pastimes and characteristics of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, Vasudeva. 3 varieties of men are purified. Who are the speaker or the preacher? Vaktaram will also be purified by answering these questions. And he who inquires, Pruchakam, the questioner also will be purified because he will hear the answers. And the people in general who are sitting in that assembly and listening to the Krishna Katha, they will also become purified. So this is the benefit of Krishna Katha, and this is the benefit of making proper inquiries. the speaker gets most benefit, the questioner gets more benefit, and the hearer gets general benefit. General, better, best na? 3 categories. याद है क्या बोल गए?
जनरल जो ऑडियंस रहता है उनको जनरल, जो क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं उनको बेटर,
आंसर देते हैं उनको बेस्ट. आंसर देते मतलब देने के बाद फॉलो करते. So it's like that. And about the questions and answers, there are some references from other cantos. This is from 4th canto, 22nd chapter, where Sanat Kumara is speaking to Prutu Maharaj. Sadhu Prishtam Maharaja Sarva Bhuta Hitatmana Bhavata Vidusa Chapi Sadhu Nam Matiridrishi. Here Sanat Kumara is saying that, O king, you who are very much learned, Bhavata Vidusha, and who think of the welfare of all beings, have asked well. The minds of devotees are of this nature. Sadhunam Matiridrishi. The sadhus will always be up like this. And there is another verse from the same chapter, next verse. Sangama kalu sadhunam ubayesham cha sammata yas sambhashana samprashna sarvesham vitunotitham. Here Sankumar says that the assembly of devotees, of hearers and listeners, assembly consists of somebody hearing, somebody is listening, somebody is speaking, is desire. That kind of assembly is desirable because in that assembly the discussion and answers spread benefit to both the parties, to the speaker, to the listeners, and to the inquirers. Everyone gets benefit when there is a discussion and answers. Yet sambhashana samprashna, there is a proper inquiry and there is proper answering. Then all the parties will be benefited. Even when, well, like this, when Prutu Maharaj made inquiry to the 4 Kumaras, Sant Kumara is saying this and he will answer, which will be for the benefit of everyone. Later it will be said that the highest perfection is attaining the feet of the Lord. The answer to the what is the highest perfection is attaining the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. And that is accomplished by hearing and chanting the names and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. What is the means of attaining the highest perfection? Chanting and hearing. And which will lead to Smaranam also, other things.
This all 4 questions are answered in this chapter.
3 chapters.
First 3 chapters.
Basically 2 chapters properly answered. 3rd chapter is like kind of additional points. Okay. So answering will be in the reverse order. First 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. So in that way. This is the highest process. However, the question was also asked, what should not be heard, chanted or remembered? Therefore, in the next 3 verses, verse number 2 to 4, this is answered by describing Karma Yoga. So the 4th question is, what should not be heard, what should not be chanted, or what should not be remembered, and whom one should not be worshipping. Now that answer is given in 2, 3, 4 by describing karma. Not Karma Yoga, is actually Sakama Karma. By describing Sakama Karma, it is answered.
2, 3, 4 verse number.
2, 3, 4, 3 verses. What one should not hear, one should not chant, one should not remember, whom one should not worship. That is answered in the next 3 verses. 2, 3, 4. So now verse number 2. Shrotavyadini Rajendra Nranam Santi Sahasrasha Apashyatam Atmatattvam Griheshu Gruhamedinam. One alternately you can read translation one after the other.
Those persons who are materially engrossed, being blind to the knowledge of the ultimate truth, have many subject matters for hearing in human society, O Emperor.
Here is saying that Shrotavyadini Rajendra Nranam Santi Sahasrasha. For the people in this world, Nranam, who are eager to hear, they have thousands of topics. Shrotavya Adini Santi Sahasrasha. There are thousands of topics that can be heard by the people of this world. What kind of people of this world? Apashyatam Atmatattvam. Those who do not want to see, those who do not want to inquire about the Atma Tattva, about the nature of the Atma, about the life, purpose of life, about the goal of life. For that kind of people, there are thousands of topics to hear. Shrotavya Adini Nunam Santi Sahasrasha. And those who are attached to the house and commit 5 types of violence. Griheshu Gruhamedinam. What kind of people who are not interested in Atma Tattvam? Those people who consider themselves to be Gruheshu, who are the leaders of the house, who are the masters of the house, Gruha Ishu. And Grihamedinam. They are only interested in the household happiness. And being attracted to household happiness, they continue to perform 5 types of sinful activities, being living in the house. So it's like that.
5 times of sinful activities. 5 times.
Wait, now we'll discuss. You can ask questions once the purport is over. Still not clear, then you can ask questions. Atma Tattva means, who am I? What should I do? What is my future? Future means not the immediate future. When a BTech student studying BTech first year, second year, if he is asking what is my future, whether will I get into IIT or will I go to US, not that kind of question. Future means what will happen to me after this life. Next life, what will happen to me? So like that. Spiritual future, not the material future. How will I get deliverance? Those living in the house do not ask these questions. Apashyatam. Those people who consider themselves to be Gruheshu, they never ask this kind of questions. Who am I? What should I do? What is my future? How will I get deliverance? They only ask, so what should I do to earn more money? How I can increase my bank balance? And how will I get more money to purchase more flats or more land, etc. etc. That's what one is interested in. Griha Medina means those who are attached to their houses, absorbed in 5 kinds of sins in the house. Just by staying in the home, one is supposed to commit 5 kinds of sins. There is no way out for these things. One will definitely, knowingly or unknowingly, compulsorily, one has to commit these 5 kinds of sinful activities. And the 5 sinful activities are connected to 5 items that we use in the house. Their names are given. Ukkal, Chakki, Sigdi, Matka, and Jadu. All these things are there in the notes. I mean, PPT anyway already sent to you, so you don't have to make note down. Something extra you can note down. You know what is Ukkal?
Ukkal, the Damodar Leela Ukkal.
So, okay, matlab kya hai?
When we want to hit that,
what?
Make turmeric to make turmeric powder. In that way.
Okay.
We'll have a long rod.
Yeah. You got it. आपको समझ में आया क्या उक्कल मतलब क्या है?
हाँ ब्रो ये.
That is churning. Dadi mantan. दामोदर मतलब दामोदर मंथन ददी मंथन only.
उक्कल मतलब.
हाँ उक्कल मतलब
वो ऐसा ये करना.
हाँ वही पाउडर करने वाला, क्रश करने वाला. घर पे ये बोल रहे थे ना हल्दी को पाउडर करने वाला, ऐसा जनरली रेड मिर्च को पाउडर करने का, ऐसा हर एक चीज को पाउडर करने के लिए वो यूज करते हैं घर पे. वुडन ग्राइंडिंग मोटर करके बोलते हैं उसको.
वुडन वाला होता है तो लोहा.
हाँ स्टोन का भी रहता है, लोहा का भी रहता है, वुडन का भी रहता है. But in whatever case, that particular device. So while doing that one, making pieces or powder, there could be some bacteria or some small insects might fall in that and they might be killed. Yes or no? They can normal in the home, they can't be seen. The next one is Chakki. What is Chakki?
Like we'll rotate it so that we can actually make the rice or something dal to make it into paste or batter.
Not paste or batter, it is meant to make it into dry powder. Rice will be there, rice powder becomes. Sugar, you put sugar powder will come. Dal, you put dal powder, it will become. It is like a grinder. Not that liquid grinder, but dry grinder.
Dry grinder.
That is chakki. Sigdi?
Gas.
Yes,
Stove. Stove means, of course, in the olden days it is wooden stove. Wooden. Kerosene wala bhi. Sigdi matlab the firewood wala. Jagannath Puri been to na? Jagannath Puri ka kitchen dekha? Bas kis. Wooden stove basically.
Yeah.
So when you start the wooden fire, the surrounding area, whatever bacteria or insects will be there, they'll die. And we cannot say that we cannot avoid that also, because kana hai to pakana padta hai na. We need to cook. Cooking happens with this. So in that way. And matka. So nowadays we might be using steel, copper vessels or plastic water cans, etc. But in the olden days, it was all matka only. And finally, jadu. Broom. घर को साफ रखने के लिए ब्रूमिंग करना पड़ता है. ब्रूमिंग करते समय बहुत सारा चींटी रहता है, बहुत सारा अदर insects रहता है. They all die. So these 5 things one cannot avoid only. They will be done. Of course, these are some example only. This is not all in all. But like this, there are many other things. Selflessly one commit. One cannot avoid. I mean, helplessly one will commit and one cannot avoid that. So then what is the way out? Way out is performance of Panchashuna Yajna. There is something called as Panchashuna Yajna. There are 5 kinds of purificatory rites that should be performed. So what are the 5 purificatory activities? Rishi Yajna, Deva Yajna, Pitru Yajna, Nru Yajna, and Bhuta Yajna. So like that, there are 5 kinds of yajnas one need to perform. So they are called as Pato. So we have, as soon as we are born, we owe to 6 category of people. Devarshi Bhutaptar Nam Cha Pitrunam. Nakinkaro Nayam Runicha Rajan. Bhagavad Gita, first chapter, one of the last 2 verses, this verse comes. If you have studied, if you remember. Arjuna was telling that about if all the elders die, who will offer Shraddha? So in that context, Prabhupada quotes this verse in the commentary. So as soon as we are born, we owe to 6 category of people: Devatas, Rishis, Bhutas, Aptas, Nunas, and Pitrus. So how to fulfill our oaths to them? So in the case of Rishis, the process of fulfilling the Rishi Runa is Pato. Pato means studying Vedic literature. One is supposed to study Vedic literature, go to Gurukul study and follow, and then teach to the next generation. That is how we can fulfill the Rishi Runa. And how to fulfill the Deva Runa? Homa, performing fire sacrifice. By the performance of fire sacrifice, we can fulfill the Deva Runa. What is the Bhagavad Gita verse? Chapter 39, 39-38. Bhagavad Gita 39-38. 3:8 and 3:9. Yes, sir, please. Who will remember? Keep an assistant.
Work done as sacrifice.
Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3 only. That is verse number 9. उसके पहले verse number 8. सहयज्ञा प्रजा सुष्टा पुरोवाचा प्रजापति अनेना प्रसिद्धस्त्वं येषवो इस्त कामधुक्. At the very beginning, after creating all the variety of living entities, Lord Brahma said, so my dear human beings, be happy by performing fire sacrifice. If you perform fire sacrifice, the devatas will receive their oblations. If they receive their oblation, they will send forth rain and other things. Then by that you can become prosperous, and they become prosperous. Like that, both of you become prosperous by mutual dependence. So it's like that. So Deva Runa is due to performance of Homa, fire sacrifice. And then Apta and Nru Runa. Nru means people in general, Apta means our relatives. That is Atiti Nam Saparya, Atiseva. whenever some person comes to our home, we need to treat them very nicely. Ati Devo Bhava. Receiving guests. Aptaruna Nruna. Aptaruna means Apta means relatives. Our relatives from the point of your parents and mother, father, etc. Nru means people in general, all other human beings. For them, the Runa can be paid back by Abhay Gopal. By receiving guests, whoever comes to home, we need to receive them. That it will be possible like that.
Main call.
Oh. Tarpanam. Pitruna. Pitruna is due to offering tarpan, Shraddha rites to the forefathers, by which the Pitruna can be fulfilled. And Bhuta Runa, the Runa for all the other living entities, is fulfilled by allowing them their share of food. That Bhuta Runa means not the human beings but all other living entities. Our Runa toward them can be fulfilled by offering their share of food. What is the first verse of Ishopanishad? First mantra of Ishopanishad. पूरा वर्ष बताओ, उसका मतलब क्या है बताओ. First mantra, not invocation prayer. आपका भक्ति शास्त्री सर्टिफिकेट कैंसिल करूंगा आज. भगवत गीता का वर्ष बोला नहीं, अभी ईश्वर का वर्ष नहीं बोल रहे हैं. थोड़ी देर के बाद एनवाई का भी वर्ष नहीं बोलेंगे, एनओडी का वर्ष भी नहीं बोलेंगे. अभी क्या क्या बच गया है? Bhagavad Gita 25% gone. Ishopanishad 25% gone. Only 50% is there. Pass marks are 65. Ishavasya midam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagattena taktena bunjita ma grudha kashasiddhanam.
Started with that only, no, Prabhu.
Starting nahi Prabhu, you have to end also.
Okay.
अभी एक वर्ड याद रखने से कुछ फायदा नहीं. आपका भक्ति शास्त्री सर्टिफिकेट कैंसिल करना पड़ेगा, वापस भक्ति शास्त्री करना पड़ेगा आप लोग दोनों. लेकिन नहीं, कुछ नहीं बोलने का. श्लोक पूछेगा तो श्लोक बोलने का. Forget about everything. You are a student. You should know. You should remember. The next verse. The first verse, those who are not interested in Atma Tattva, they are called Gruyeshu, and they are by default perform fine sinful activities. And they have thousands of topics to hear. So why he is talking all these things? Those topics should not be heard, should not be discussed. They are hearing, they are discussing, but those who want to attain highest perfection, they should not hear, they should not discuss. So next. Nidraya hriyate naktam vyavayena cha vavayam divascharte hayarajan kutumba baranena va.
Project, before this shloka, in the last shloka, so the 5 kinds of sinful activities which were attached to Griha Medina, so that in one sense that is actually practiced in our institutional setup in ISKCON and Brahmacharya ashram also. In the temple setup also. Previously, it was different, but sannyasis or someone, they may not actually commit all this. And the remedies were given the 5 yagyas. But whereas in our setup, we actually commit all the sins also, no? In our setup. So how are we required to actually do the sacrifices, or what is the atonement?
Okay. Out of these 5, what kind of sins we are performing?
Even Ukkal is performed. Chakki I didn't see. Sigdi is performed. Matka Jadu. Yeah. Apart from Chikki I didn't see, but all the rest.
Chikki is also there in our kitchen. Ukkal is not there, but Chikki is there.
That wheat flour grinding machine.
That is Chakki.
Oh, that is Chakki. Okay.
That wheat flour grinding machine is actually Chakki. Every day chapati ke liye banate na, That is Chakki. Instead of Ukkal, we use grinder. The mixer and grinder is the replacement for the Ukkal nowadays. In the old, our mothers used to use Ukkal only, but nowadays grinder has come. Grinder replaced that. So in one sense, in the temple also all these things are happening. So for a Sakama Karmi, the way out is by performing these 5 kinds of Panchashuna Yajnas, 5 kinds of sacrifices. For a householder who is performing Sakama Karma. For a Brahmachari in the temple. So directly Brahmacharis are not involved, but the kitchen staff who are cooking for the Brahmacharis, who are cooking for the staff, who are cooking for the guests, who are also cooking for the deities, knowingly or unknowingly these things are happening. But all these activities are meant for serving the Lord. And these 5 kinds of activities cannot be avoided. No one can avoid. According to Shastra also no one can avoid. So since no one can avoid, as an atonement, one should perform these Panchashuna sacrifices, like that it is mentioned. So for us, the sacrifice is Yajnanam Japa Yajñosmi. Japa Yajna will accomplish all other sacrifices if it is done properly. Not like the way I am doing, but sincerely, seriously, like you people are doing. So things are accomplished. So in that, not only for us, so we are also kind of implicated in all these sinful activities because the kitchen staff is doing for us, and kitchen staff and some Brahmachari in charges who are also actually part of the kitchen services, they are directly involved, and all of us are indirectly involved. But in any case, directly or indirectly, we are responsible, and the way out is performing our sadhana seriously and sincerely. That is the way out for us. But for a householder, for a Sakama Karmi, the way out is performing these 5 sacrifices, which are meant for their household rituals. So like that. आप chanting अच्छे से करो, मेरा chanting भी थोड़ा अच्छे से करो, हमारा दोनों के लिए भला हो जाएगा. Next verse, interesting verse. Nidraya hriyate naktam vyavayena cha vavaya divacharte hayarajan kutumba varanena va. Translation.
Life is wasted at night. Or in sex.
Little louder.
Life is wasted at night in sleeping or in sex enjoyment. Life is wasted during the day by dressing material objects or supporting family members.
Nidraya hriyate naktam. The night time is spent in sleeping. Or vyavayena cha vavaya. For the householders, the night also goes in sex indulgence. Divas charte haya rajan. And the daytime is spent in earning money. Why money? With money only one can have all the desirable objects. People want to have a beautiful house, beautiful car, beautiful gadgets, mobile, laptop, this, that, everything money. So money means work. Work means time. Or kutumba varnenava, supporting family members, not only for oneself, but for the maintenance of the entire family. So for this kind of karma yogi, who is not interested in Atma Tattva, who is thinking oneself as the Gruheshu, who is attached to Gruhamedi, and who has thousands of topics to hear, his night goes either in sleeping or in sex indulgence, and day goes in earning money to get his favorable objects or to maintain the family members. So like that. They spend their life uselessly. Lifespan is wasted by sleeping at night because night is suitable, not suitable. Night is unsuitable for action. Of course, in the past, night is unsuitable for action. In the past, people were sleeping every night. But now, people are more working in the night time than daytime. Things have changed. Sukadeva Goswami did not anticipate what will happen in the future. Or the lifespan is decreased with sex life, since this is not forbidden for the karmis. Lifespan is decreased during the day by desiring to accumulate objects. For without objects, one cannot either perfect karma nor support family members. Because in Karma Yoga, one is obliged to support a family. So like that. This is the life of a Sakama Karmi. Their life goes in earning money and earning the objects for supporting the family and for supporting oneself, and night goes in the sleeping or sex indulgence. So like that their life goes on. Then what? Okay, this is normal lifestyle. What is so special? What's so wrong with that? The problem with that is this one, fourth verse. Deha patya kalatradishu atmasaineshu asassapi tesham pramatto nidanam pashyan apina pashyati.
Deeply attached to his body, children and wife, who are like an army giving protection, though they are false, he sees their destruction, but does not see it.
Why this person is working very hard throughout the day to construct a home, to purchase a car, to get all the different objects, household objects like a fridge, grinder, mixie, this, that, so many things will be there. House monthly, so much requirement is there. If you had stayed in the base room or somewhere, you would have known all these things, what all one need. I mean, but you may not be involved in so much. Your parents are worried about all those things. So in that way. So why he is doing all these things? Because he is deeply attached to the family members and deeply attached to his own body. Pramatto nidanam. Pramatta. He is actually mad out of affection for his own body, affection for his own bodily enjoyment, affection for his wife and children, friends and relatives. Because why he is showing so much affection to all of them? He considers all of them Atma Saineshu. They are all army. They will give him protection. I should take care of them very nicely so that they will take care of me in emergency. All of us can live happily ever after. This is the mentality of a Sakama Karmi householder. Though they are false, asastu api. He might think that, okay, they all will be there for the rest of eternity. How many will stay here for the rest of eternity? Parents will not stay for as long as the son stays. The children does not stay as long as the parent. I mean, the children does not follow the parents. To some extent, the wife may be living same lifespan. Once parents, they leave body much earlier by the person. And once children, one may be caring one's children so much, but the children continue to stay. But they themselves does not stay long. One day they'll die. The only person can live till the end of one's lifespan is the wife. Otherwise, remaining all does not stay along with him for the rest of eternity. Even at the time of death also, one has to leave behind the wife and one has to go ahead. That's why it is said, asastu api. Even though they are not permanent, but he considers them as a permanent rescue team. That is the problem. That's so. What is the problem? He sees their destruction, but does not see. Tesham nidanam pashyan api na pashyati. Tesham nidam pashyan api na pashyati. In spite of seeing the death of one's parents, one will never realize that, okay, these family members are not permanent. So that's why this person does not interest in Atma Tattva. He is only interested in bodily happiness and bodily maintenance of one's own body and the bodies of other family members. This verse elaborates the phrase Apashyatam Atma Tattva. The body and other things are like one's army for fighting against time. One is attached to them even though they are false, since the soul has no relationship with the body and other objects. This we can actually see during the lockdown period. People were worried about their death. They have gone to hospitals, paid lakhs of rupees per every day, staying in ICU, with a lot of other precautions, etc. They are supposed to pay lakhs of rupees per day. I was hoping that, okay, if I cross through this difficult situation, I can continue to live for more time. So it's like that. Life is so dear than anything. Or though they are not proper and incapable of saving one, since they are material, the person remains inactive, because though they are destroyed by time, including parents who have not yet died, he sees their death, but does not examine the matter. He is devoured by time. Before he could realize that this body is temporary, family members are temporary, he will die. Then there is no point in realizing that he will also die one day. So like that. A devotee, however, recognizing the Lord and recognizing the temporal nature of the material world, he does not become attached to the body, does not become attached to the bodies of the family members, and hence he conquers time. So this is the answer to, these three verses are answer to what one shouldn't hear, chant, and remember. Answer to the fourth question. Then the next question is, therefore, what should one hear, chant, and remember? That will be answered in the next remaining part of this section. That will talk about what one should do. Tasmat, therefore, Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha Smartavyascha Bayam.
Sorry, मैं actually mute करके रखा हुआ था. O descendant of King Bharata, therefore the Lord who is Paramatma, Bhagavan and Lord of power should be heard about, glorified and remembered by those desiring freedom from fear.
Therefore, Ichchata Abhayam, my dear king, if at all you desire to get fearlessness, freedom from material existence, then what you should hear, what you should chant, what you should remember is Bhagavan, Sarvatma, Ishvara. Okay? Sarvatma, Bhagavan, Ishvara. Sarvatma refers to Paramatma with everywhere. Andantarastha, Paramanu, Chantarastham. Bhagavan is Bhagavan. And Ishvara is the Lord of the power, the supreme controller, the supreme creator, and also the Brahman. The Lord Hari exists in three features: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So one should hear about Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, chant about Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, and one should remember Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Okay? By those who desire to attain freedom from material existence. What one should not do in the previous three verses, what one should do now in this verse. Therefore, do not perform karma for getting highest success, but perform bhakti alone. The Shravanam, Kirtanam and Smaranam is called as bhakti. So karma does not award you the highest perfection, but bhakti can award you the highest perfection. So therefore, do not do sakama karma, but do bhakti. Or you who are born in the family of Bharata, the Lord is to be heard about by the person desiring fearlessness, absence of that which defeats him. If one does not hear about the Supreme Lord, one does not sing about the Supreme Lord, one does not remember the Supreme Lord, one's purpose of life will be defeated. Lord Hari is the subject, about whom one should hear, about whom one should describe, about whom one should meditate upon, that is Lord Hari. But Lord Hari has three phases of existence. What are the three? He exists in the form of Paramatma, he exists in the form of Bhagavan, he also exists in the form of Ishvara. Why three phases are indicated? The three indicate three types of bhakti. So Sarvatma is for those who desire liberation. Bhagavan is for those who want to perform Raganuga Bhakti. Ishvara is for those who wants to perform Vaidhi Bhakti. The three features of the Supreme Lord are indicated here. So Ishvara can be taken as Brahman, or Ishvara can be also taken as Aishwarya form of the Supreme Lord. So in order to worship the Aishwarya form of the Supreme Lord, Vaidhi Bhakti should be practiced. In order to worship the Bhagavan, Bhagavan means, what was the verse about Bhagavan? Who is the ultimate Bhagavan?
Krishna.
I am not asking the person, I am asking the verse. Okay, here Raganuga indicated. So Raganuga for whom? For Vishnu or for Krishna or for Rama, for Varaha, Kurma, Matsya, for whom?
Krishna.
Why Krishna? So what?
Aishwarya Shidila.
Aishwarya Shidila, वो कहाँ से आ गया?
Distinguishing between Vaidhi and Raganuga.
What is the distinction?
In Vaidhi it is on reverence. And in Raganuga it is spontaneous, and over here it is more specifically with respect to Braja Bhakti, the mood of the inhabitants of Braja.
That is the answer. That Bhagavan who is established in Bhagavatam 1.3.28 is Vraja Nandanandan Krishna. In order to become an eternal associate of Vraja Nandanandan Krishna is, sadhana is Raganuga Bhakti. Vaidhi sadhana, one can go all the way up to Vaikunta. And with the combination of little bit Raganuga and little bit Vaidhi, one can go to Dwaraka and Madura. But by the exclusive practice of Raganuga only, one can go to Goloka Vrindavan. That Goloka Vrindavan Krishna is the highest Bhagavan according to Gaudiya Vaishnava theology.
What about the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Navadvip?
Oh, that is Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now we are studying Bhagavatam. So we are studying 5,000 years old literature. So after that, completing that, you come down to 500 old literature. Then it comes Chaitanya Bhagavat and Chaitanya Charitamrita. That is one step ahead. And Sarvatma is Paramatma. That is for liberation. It can be Sayujya Mukti or Sarishti or Salokya, where Seva is not given the prominence. Not Sarupya. Sarupya Seva is there. Samipya, Sarupya, there is direct Seva.
Sayujya Seva is not there.
Even Sarishti and Salokya also direct Seva is not there. There is some indirect Seva, but direct Seva is only in Samipya and Sarupya. Same opulence है. अभी मुंबई में है एक बड़ा बंगला है. उधर किधर? मलबार हिल्स नहीं. कल्याण में नहीं तो नाला सोपारा में बंगलो है, बड़ा बंगलो है. So when somebody asks you outside Mumbai, outside Maharashtra, what do you say? I'm in Mumbai. You are in Mumbai only, but on the outskirts. There is no direct seva for you. Direct seva of Mumbai will be there only when you are in the vicinity of Radha Gopinath. Every day you can come to temple and perform seva to lordships. And if you are outside Kalyan, Ulas Nagar and all, you can come once in a month only, not regularly. Or you may not come, you will send Lakshmi. Okay, today there is sponsoring from Ramesh Ramchandani. Something like that. In the memory of their father, mother, sister, etc. Indirect seva, that is.
In Salokya and Sarshti, there is no direct seva.
No, direct seva, if possible, can be there once in a while occasionally, but generally indirect seva.
Okay, that is that Salokya and Sarshti.
Sarishti and Salokya.
भगवान का तो एसोसिएशन मिलता है ना.
आप आएगा तो, आप उनका घर तक आएगा तो, उनका पैलेस तक आएगा तो मिलता है. आप अपना पैलेस में रहेगा तो, आप भी मुंबई में, ये भी मुंबई में. अभी from Mumbai context, Mantralaya is also in Mumbai only, and Nalasopara building also in Mumbai only. Will they get to see the chief minister and governor every day? That person has to come here. Chief minister, he will not go there. Once in a while he may go there, but not regularly. Once in 5 years he may go there once for election. That time one can see. When he is in the position, if you want to see, you have to come here only. But those people who are nearby Mantralaya, Samipya, or Sarupya means those who are in the Mantralaya. Sarupya means same.
Sarupya means it is just only the form, no?
Farm also, but the Sarupya and Samipya are very close associates generally.
Oh, then all the inhabitants of Vaikuntha will not have the same form as Lord Vishnu.
Yeah, this is also one question. I also have a doubt whether everyone will have Sarupya or not. I'm not sure. But generally it is said that the close associates will always have Sarupya. Without any issue, by default they have Sarupya. Of course, from general understanding, we may say that everyone by default, everyone in Vaikuntha should be having Sarupya also. That can be general, but when it comes to details,
there is a specific differentiation between the 4 liberations as Sarupya.
The first one is Sayuja, very remote. The next one is Sarishti, that is also remote, but the same opulences. The next one is Salokya, same Loka, but very far. And then Sarupya, somewhere near, similar bodily features. So finally Samipya. Samipya includes Sarupya also, and also it includes close proximity, family member only. It's like that. I mean, generally in my discussions, I always say these two. So there is a direct seva available for Samipya and Sarupya. Seva is available only in the indirect way for the Sarishti and Salokya. So it's like that. Of course, they can also have seva if they are interested in, but if they are satisfied with the indirect seva, that will go on. So it's like that.
So it has nothing in connection with respect to the rasa or mood or anything.
It all connected to the desire of the devotee. Everything is connected to the desire of the devotee. How and in which way a devotee want to serve the Lord. Lord only simply facilitated that. Bas utna hi. Facility is there, but desire also should be there. For example, both of you, don't feel bad, don't feel offended, but I'm just giving a connecting example. Both of you were told to serve in the morning, 10:30. Evening 5:30 also there are prasadam vessels. There is no instruction that you have to serve. It's up to you to serve or not. So like that. So in the morning, both of you are in Samipya Seva. In the evening, both of you are in Salokya Seva. Something like that. Are you getting?
Yeah.
Opportunity is there. Salokya opportunity is there to serve the Lord. But for that only they need to do small endeavor. They need to come from there to here. Or in your case, you need to extend a little bit more time. For you to take time, you take 10-20 minutes. But for you to serve and take prasadam, it will take 1 hour. If you are able to devote 1 hour, you can become Samipya. If you are only able to devote only 20 minutes, you remain Salokya. And whenever there is a feast, you get Sarishti also. So in that way. First, the Lord who is Paramatma should be heard about by the person desiring liberation and freedom from fear. Abhayam. One who want to attain Sayujya or Sarishti or Salokya, they should hear about Paramatma. Second, the one is Bhagavan. The beautiful son of Nanda should be heard about by the person who is greedy for becoming fixed in his devotion. Who is greedy for becoming fixed in devotion. So what is that verse in Bhagavad Gita chapter 9? There are many verses, but one verse, tell me, in which verse Yukta word comes? Nitya Yukta word comes. Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, you can also refer to chapter 7 and chapter 12, chapter 10 also. Wherever, what are the different places that Nitya Yukta word comes? अभी तो आंसर करना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो आपका सर्टिफिकेट कैंसिल करूंगा. पूरा वर्स चाहिए मुझे, एक वर्ड एक लाइन नहीं, 4 लाइन वर्स चाहिए. सम सिंपल वर्स बोलो बाबा, उतना टफ वर्स क्यों बोल रहे हैं?
युक्ता आनी चाहिए ना.
हाँ युक्ता, आई वांट टू नो युक्ता ओनली. युक्ता के बिना वर्स बहुत सारा है. Deyinosimnyata dehe komaram yamanam jara tata de antara praptir dhira tatramyatino yukta. Verse is simple only. तेषाम सता युक्तानाम भजताम। ना उसके बाद बुद्धि बन जाएगा। हाँ, what is the meaning of that verse? Word to word नहीं, just meaning बताओ.
Those who are constantly engaged in my service.
In your service?
मतलब भगवान के अंदर मेरा सर्विस.
बाप रे. तेषाम नित्य युक्तानाम भजताम प्रीतिपूर्वकम. नित्य युक्ता means those who cultivate the desire to become one of my eternal associate and want to serve me in Dasya, Sakya, Vasalya and Madhurya in Goloka Vrindavan. Nitya Yukta, an eternal close associate to serve the Lord in Dasya, Sakya, Vasalya and Madhurya. Upasate. They should engage in my devotional service. How? Whatever way. Dadami buddhi yogantam yanama upayandite. For that person, I will give the proper necessary intelligence to execute in my devotional service, and I will take them to my abode. Yanamam upayandite. They will come to me eventually. Satatam kirtayanto mam. Then नमस्संतच्च माम भक्त्या नित्ययुक्ता उपासते. नित्ययुक्त बनने के लिए उपासन कर रहे हो, सततम कीर्तयन्तो माम. यतन्तत्त दृढ़व्रता. दृढ़व्रता होकर सततम कीर्तयन्तो माम. What was that verse? योगक्षेम वहाम्यहम्. तेषां नित्ययुक्ता एक भक्तिर विशिष्यते. That is also there. योगक्षेम वहाम्यहम्. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana pari upasate. They will worship me completely. Pari upasate means completely in all respects. Ananyas, without any other desire. Then what desire they have? Nitya yukta. They have only one desire, to become one of the eternal associates of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then Ananya Chintayanto mam ye jana parivipasate tesham nitya abhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Then Lord Krishna says that, don't worry my dear devotee, I will take care that I will bring you to my spiritual abode. Yoga means I will bring you to my spiritual abode. Kshema means I will make sure that you will get that opportunity to serve me in either Shanta, Chanat Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vasalya or Madhurya Rasas. That is Yogakshema. अरे बोल, वापस आने के बाद आपका सर्टिफिकेट देने का मुझे आप और ये अंकित प्रभु दोनों आपका सर्टिफिकेट कैंसिल करने का. एक भी वर्ष बोला नहीं अभी तक. हमको भी अभी तक मिला नहीं. So for Bhagavan one should have greedy. Laulyam ekala mulyam koti janma sukrutena labhyate. So to get that laulya, that greediness, one should perform bhakti for koti janmas. In the third version with Ishvara, Abhayam refers to the Lord, because of whom one has no fear. So one will get Abhayam, that is one will get entry into Vaikuntha by performing Vaidhi sadhana. So in that way. This meaning is expressed in few verses later. Muhurta sarva musrujyed gatavan ubhayam harim. He at once freed himself from all material activities and took shelter of the supreme safety, the personality of Godhead. By performing Shravanam, Kirtanam and Smaranam and Bhajanam, one becomes freed of all doubts and one will take shelter of Lord Krishna's lotus feet. Something like that. The Lord who is controller should be heard by the person who is controlled, who desires the Lord, who causes fearlessness. Or the Supreme Lord is heard about by the person who desires the Lord to deliver him. Those people who want to get freed from this material existence and want to go back to spiritual world or the kingdom of Godhead, they should serve Ishvara. Who is Ishvara here? Lord Vishnu. The Lord in Aishwarya. That is Ishvara. The two words cha, after chanting and remembering indicate that after hearing, the two process of chanting and remembering should be done at the same time. What is the second line of the verse? Shrotavya, Kirtitavyascha, Smartavyascha. That means after Shravanam, one should do Kirtanam and Smaranam together. That's why we hear all this Kirtaniya they say. So never allow mind to deviate here and there. Just focus. And right now, be here. Right now, let me hear this one mantra. There are so many principles, so many sutras. Chanting and hearing the holy name. Both should go on. So there that hearing means remembering.
Kirtanam and Smaranam both would come simultaneously.
Both should happen simultaneously.
Would that be coming in the form of the practicing stage?
No, one should be trained in that area. So many times we, for example, Guru Puja Kirtan, we may sing, we may follow in the chorus, but within the core of the mind, we may be thinking something else also even while singing. This we can actually see in the chanting. The chanting is happening with the mouth, but the mind is thinking something else. So when chanting is happening, the mind also should be thinking about the same thing. So especially chanting may be a difficult thing, but we can see to some extent, if you are speaking, you cannot have different thoughts in the mind. Sometimes you may have, but generally whatever you are speaking, you are thinking about that only. Or you might be thinking about what you are supposed to speak in the next line. So there you may have a little bit control of the mind, but especially in chanting, our at least I know about my chanting. So chanting is going on one way and thinking is going another way. Both are two parallel tracks. Both are happening for 2 hours every day, continuously. So, but that should not happen like that. After hearing what we are supposed to do, then we should do chanting and remembering simultaneously. Thus, the question about what is to be heard, chanted, and remembered has been answered. So, it's like that. So, then there could be a question. Oh, sir, please wait. Abhi you told karma, no karma, no karma, no karma. And then no sakama karma, no sakama karma. And then you're telling only bhakti. Then what will happen to nishkama karma yogis? What will happen to jnana yogis? What will happen to ashtanga yogis? What about them? Are they not proper? Are they not following proper path? Their path is not highest path of the process. So what do you mean only bhakti? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam about Vishnu, etc. Why so much Vishnu? Why not thoda nishkama karma? Why not thoda yoga? Why not thoda jnana? Here, there. Then Sukadeva Goswami says, anticipating that kind of questions, he is saying, Etavan sanke yogabhyam swadharma parinishtaya janmalabha parapumsham ante narayana smriti. Yeah, read the translation. Quick. We have
the highest perfection of human life achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, by practice of mystic powers, by perfect discharge of occupational duties to remember the personality of Godhead at the end of life.
For the person fixed in the practice of jnana, Sankhya stands for jnana and yoga stands for Ashtanga yoga. Swadharma stands for Nishkama karma yoga. Either person is fixed in jnana yoga, jnana, Ashtanga yoga, Nishkama karma yoga, Sankhya yoga, Bhyam, Swadharma. Paranishtaya is completely dedicated in performing those activities. Gaining such a birth with the remembrance of the law with Lord Narayana while rejecting the other process is the best. Sukadeva Goswami is saying that no problem, sir. If somebody is practicing Nishkama karma yoga in this life or jnana yoga, Ashtanga yoga, no problem. But at the end of the life, at the end of this life, they should get a birth with the remembrance of Lord Narayana. That means they have attained perfection of Nishkama karma yoga, jnana yoga and Ashtanga yoga. Otherwise, it's simply a wasted endeavor. What was the verse from 2nd chapter of the 1st canto? Shramayavai Kevalam. Quick. Krishna. 2nd chapter of the 1st canto. Exam लिखा क्या नहीं? Grand test. ये श्लोका के बिना हो गया क्या एग्जाम? क्या लिखा? This is verse number 8 only. धर्म स्वानुष्ठिता पुंसा विश्वक्सेना कथासूया न उत्पादयेत् यद्रतिम्. Yes, Rupanuga Prabhu, you are there or dozing off?
Oh, I was repeating, but I kept it in mute. So, okay.
So no issues. You remember the verse, na? Dharma swa anushtita pumsha vishwaksena katasuya. Dharma swa anushtita means basically the grihastha dharma. According to one English, one may be performing Brahmanical dharma, Kshatriya dharma, Vaishya dharma, etc., etc. But if the performance of those duties, that means performance of the Nishkama Karma Yoga, if that does not produce at the end Rati unto Lord Vishnu, that is simply a wasted endeavor. Then what is the next verse? The same line, the same chapter, there is one more verse. Verse number 13 or 14. Yeah, verse number 13. Ata pumbir dve shrestha varnashrama vibhagasha swa anushtitasya dharmasya haritoshnam. The perfection of practicing Nishkama Karma Yoga is getting a birth with the inclination to perform haritoshnam. आपको ट्रांसलेशन वैसा नहीं मिलेगा.
परफॉर्म करने के बाद ऐसा बर्थ मिल जाएगा.
हाँ, ये जन्म में let him perform निष्काम कर्म योगा, no problem, but the result will be, our result should be new birth with the remembrance of Lord Narayana. That means they attained perfection of निष्काम कर्म योगा or ज्ञान योगा or अष्टांग योगा. Otherwise श्रमयेवै केवलम. Louder, we are not able to hear you.
Nishkama Karma Yoga, which you said, that is only for the four varnas which are actually present.
Not four, even just three only. The fourth one cannot perform Nishkama Karma Yoga.
Okay. That is sannyasi, Prabhu.
No, I am talking about the varnas, not ashramas.
Okay.
Of course, the fourth one also perform, they can also perform Nishkama Karma Yoga, not issue. The Varna duty can be offered as ashramas. Nishkama Karma Yoga is only meant for grihasthas. Only grihasthas perform Nishkama Karma Yoga, no others.
Then what about the brahmacharis and
sannyasi? Brahmachari, he has no Varna duty. Brahmachari is a student, na? Student के लिए कुछ Varna duty नहीं रहते हैं. Just पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं बस, उनका कुछ duty नहीं रहते हैं. The duty is only for the grihasthas and vanaprasthas and sannyasis.
And sannyasis, they don't perform Nishkama Karma.
No, Nishkama Karma is only meant for grihastha. For a sannyasi or vanaprastha, it is all jnana or ashtanga yoga. They are not supposed to perform karma. Obviously, tradition only.
In the current context, we actually perform.
In the current context, I am not talking in terms of ISKCON portfolio.
Yeah.
I am talking about Vedic portfolio.
Yeah, understood.
In ISKCON, we do everything at every place. We may have the tagline of so-called brahmacharis, but we are not brahmacharis.
Yeah.
Brahmacharis generally, recently Nityan Dhruv is telling that only a person can be called as brahmachari if he does not discriminate the difference in linga. If he does not differentiate the distinction between boy and girl, only that person can be called as brahmachari.
Then in Vedic system also this definition holds.
Only in Vedic system the definition holds. In the modern context does not hold. Because in the Vedic system, at the age of 6 or 7, the Upanayana ceremony used to be performed. They immediately were sent to Gurukul. And they were in Gurukul till the age of 25 or something like that.
Oh, they never encountered the other gender.
Yeah. Even the childhood they might have seen mother, sister, and so many, but they don't have that knowledge of discrimination at that time. Even in the school, they might have heard about the discrimination, but they have no practical experience. So no practical interaction. So in that way. But whatever it is, In any sense, Brahmacharya means up to 25 years. After 25 years, one cannot be called as Brahmachari in one sense. So it's like that. So, but whatever it is, a Nishkama Karma Yoga practitioner, Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga practitioner, even though they might be practicing in their life, the ultimate perfection of those sadhanas is they should get a birth with the remembrance of Lord Narayana. Then that is the perfection. Like that Sukadeva Goswami said. But ho gaya. What remains is bhakti only. Sakama karma you should not perform. If you are performing Nishkama karma as a grihastha, then take renunciation and practice jnana, and then perform Ashtanga Yoga, leave the body, taking shelter of Chakra Yoga, whatever it is, then get a birth with the remembrance of Lord Narayana. Either by performing properly Nishkama Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, then either go to Vaikuntha, getting Sarishti, Salokya or Sayuja with the remembrance of Lord Narayana, get a birth there, or get a birth here itself in the family of devotees with the remembrance of Lord Narayana. Either way, that is the perfection of those sadhanas. Ante Narayana Smriti. आप थोड़ा जोर से बोलो.
A person can go to Vaikuntha by performing Sakama Karma Yoga?
नहीं, Sakama Karma can only take all the way maximum up to Sargaloka, not beyond that.
Okay.
Sakama Karma is basically path of darkness. याद है क्या? भगवद गीता chapter 8. Path of darkness and path of light. सुना कभी?
नहीं प्रभु, ये टैगलाइन से नहीं सुना.
कौन सा टैगलाइन से सुना?
ये प्रभु जी का टैगलाइन.
8th chapter बाबा, भगवद गीता 8th chapter में one of the last shlokas there are layer. The person leaving the body during Uttarayana, during the bright fortnight, during the daytime, in the presence of fire, sunlight, they will go towards, they will attain Brahman and they will never return. And those people who leave their body during Dakshinayana, during dark fortnight, during the night time, they will go to Pitruloka, enjoy that and come back. The path of light is Nishkama Karma Yoga. A person follows Nishkama Karma Yoga as a grihastha, then follows Jnana and Ashtanga Yoga as Vanaprastha and Sannyasi, and then attains Brahman. And a grihastha practices Sakama Karma and attains to Pitruloka or Sargaloka and comes back. These are very popular teachings of Bhagavad Gita. क्या एक वर्स भी याद नहीं, ट्रांसलेशन भी याद नहीं, टैग लाइन भी याद नहीं.
हमको जो पढ़ा है वो ये टैग लाइन यूज किया था.
Then what tagline they use? That you tell me ना.
उसमें तो हमने ऐसे सीखा था कि where would be the destination of a successful yogi, and where would it be if it is not, and what is the assurance for a devotee.
Krishna. Then who are you and who am I?
That is identity crisis. I wanted to ask that.
Okay. Have a Tirupati Balaji Laddu today and sleep peacefully. It will be revealed tomorrow morning. So Sakama Karma or Nishkama Karma are meant for grihasthas. Jnana and Ashtanga Yoga are meant for Vanaprastha and Sannyasis. As a grihastha, generally the people with mental desires perform Sakama Karma, but people who are done with the mental desire, they perform Nishkama Karma Yoga. Then after purifying their heart properly, then they take to Vanaprastha order. Then they get to practice Jnana or Ashtanga full-fledged 24 hours, 24/7. Then eventually as a result, they attain Brahman. Brahmabhuta prasannatma nasochati nakankshati samas sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labate varam bhaktyama avijanati yavan ya chasmi tattatha taktyamam annana tato man tattato jnatva vishate tadanantaram. Vishatantaram means then they will enter into Brahman or Vaikuntha with Sarishti or Salokya. Not only devotees get into Samipya and Sarupya with personal seva.
These will go to Vaikuntha, but the Vaikuntha you cannot enter without service.
Which Jnani? We are not talking about Jnanis. We are talking about the Jnana Yoga practitioners. Jnana Yoga means Jnana plus Bhakti. Wherever yoga is, that means Bhakti is there. Nishkama Karma Yoga. I am specifically mentioning the terms. Sakama karma or sakama karmi. Nishkama karma yogi, jnana yogi, and ashtanga yogi. Yogi means ashtanga yogi means ashtanga plus bhakti. Jnana yogi means jnana plus bhakti. Nishkama karma yogi means nishkama karma plus bhakti. Without bhakti nothing will come. Bhakti will be there. थोड़ा सा भक्ति तो रहना चाहिए. शुगर के चीनी के बिना कितना आप दूध पिएंगे? थोड़ा चीनी तो ऐड करना पड़ेगा ना, थोड़ा टेस्ट के लिए. So that is sadhana bhakti along with निष्काम कर्म योगा. और थोड़ा इलायची ऐड करके तो और टेस्टी हो जाएगा. That is थोड़ा सा रागान का भक्ति. So like that. आपको कंफ्यूज करने के लिए आए मैं आज.
इंटरेस्टिंग लग रहा है. So निष्कामा, ज्ञाना and ashtanga yogas will only reach till sarsti and salokya.
If they want. Generally the result is sahyajya, but if they want to enter into Vaikuntha they can get sarsti and salokya, not more than that.
It's based on their desire.
Obviously. सब कुछ इच्छा के अनुसार. So now it is said that the highest perfection of human life achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, by practicing mystic powers, or by perfect discharge of occupational duty is to remember the personality of God at the end of life. Ante Narayana Smriti. If person doing jnana, if person doing jnana yoga or karma yoga or other process become devotees by association with the devotees, they do not again perform those other processes. They become successful. That is expressed in this verse. They might start with karma yoga intention only, with jnana yoga intention only, but eventually by coming in the association of devotee, they also add bhakti to their activities. That becomes nishkama karma yoga, jnana yoga, or ashtanga yoga. Then they eventually attain Narayana Smriti. But hearing, chanting, and remembering are the limbs of bhakti. What is the highest process recommended for a karmi, jnani, or yogi? So in the previous verse, it is said that if at all you want to attain highest perfection, you are supposed to do hearing, chanting, and remembering the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Then what is the highest process recommended for a karmic, jnani, and yogi? That is for the previous recommendation for devotee. But what will be for these people? For jnanis, yogis, and karmis, to attain such a birth is best. Though they may be practicing nishkama karma yoga, jnana yoga, and ashtanga yoga in this life, no problem, let them practice. But in the next birth, they should get that birth with the remembrance of Lord Vishnu, so that they can hear, chant, and remember the wonderful activities, Nama Rupa Gundala of Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari. So in that way, that is a successful birth. If with the end of jnana, yoga, and karma, ante, not really the end, but by approximation, pure bhakti, remembrance of Narayana appears, as in the case of the Kumaras, Navayogendras, Prachinabari, and others. What happened to Kumaras? Previously they were Brahmavadis, but having gone to Vaikuntha, their heart changed. Navayogendras.
How they could enter into Vaikuntha?
Oh, everyone can go. You can also go. No issues. Permission, ticket milega to ja sakte. That Vaikuntha is there within our universe only, just above Satyaloka. ये उनका पिताजी का घर के ऊपर थे.
The embassy in the material world, spiritual embassy in the material world.
Oh, no embassy, Baba. It will be in the material world only. It is the abode of Manvantara Avatara. Manvantara Avatara stays in that Vaikuntha, which is there just above Satyaloka. I have given the book also, Bhagavat Tattva Vichara. In that chapter 2 talks about all the avataras.
Yes.
Manvantara Avatara section mein it is there.
Manvantara Avatara, they actually stay where, Prabhuji?
That Vaikuntha which is located just above Satyaloka. About which we will discuss in the 5th chapter.
Okay. Who all then stays in the Vaikuntha? Dhruva Maharaj also stays there.
Dhruva Maharaj stays in Dhruva Loka. That is another Vaikuntha.
Oh, how many Vaikunthas are there in this universe?
At least 3 Vaikunthas are there as per cosmology topic. There can be more also, but at least that much I discuss in my talks.
One is Dhruva Loka.
One is in Vaikuntha above Satyaloka, one in Dhruva Loka, one is above Lokaloka mountain.
Okay. Can we ask now about those details?
No. You need to come to 5th canto.
Okay.
So like this, Kumaras, Navayogendras and Prachinabari attained perfection by understanding the importance of bhakti. At the end signifies that even if they give up bhakti, they do not again practice the other process. Neha Vikram Nashosti Salpamapiyasya Dharmasya. Thus it is said, auspiciousness arises for the worshippers of the Devatas if firm devotion for the Lord arises from the association with the devotees. Etavan eva ititam iha nishroya sodaya bhagavati achulo bhavo yad bhagavata sangata. Even those called determined Devata worshippers also can attain highest perfection if they start practicing bhakti in the association of devotees or with the association of devotees. Hearing about bhakti and how to practice bhakti, if they start engaging in bhakti, they get a highest perfection. Something like that. Others say the verse means at the end of this life, remembering Narayana is the supreme attainment. Some people interpret this verse is by after practicing Nishkama Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga throughout the life, they should come to the point at the end of the life that remembrance of the Lord is all in all. Remembering Lord Narayana, they should give their body. Antakalecha Mameva. Atra na already came. Na asti atra samshaya. Sanskrit भी सिखाना पड़ रहा है. The highest thing that they can achieve is to put an end to all their practice of jnana, yoga and karma and try to attain remembrance of Narayana by the practice of bhakti. Either at the end of the life or at the beginning of the next life, they should get the remembrance of Lord Narayana. That is the highest perfection of the practice of Nishkama Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga. Otherwise, Shramaya Kevalam. So, answer is over. What one should not do, what one should do. Both are over. Here Ankit Prabhu is seeing the watch. 4:30 हो गया already. We will go all the way up to 14th verse. There will not be much discussion now, but after 14th verse we will close. And the next class, that is tomorrow, we will discuss from 15th verse onward. That is the next topic of the first chapter. Prayena munayo rajan nivritta vidisevata nairgunyastharamante sma gunano katane hare. Read the translation in the slide.
Okay. Generally, the sages who are beyond rules and prohibitions, who are situated beyond the gunas, take pleasure in glorifying the qualities of the Lord.
Now, Sukadeva Goswami in the next 2 verses is giving his own example. I was also a jnani while in the womb of my mother. Even after coming from the womb of my mother, also I was a jnani. But when I heard a few verses from Bhagavatam, then I became a devotee. How he became devotee? 1:7:10. First canto, 7th chapter, verse number 10. 10 or 8. 8, I think. 8th verse. What is the 8th verse? नहीं, खोलने का नहीं. आपका माइंड खोलो. आत्मा रामस्य मुनया निर्ग्रंथा अपि उरुक्रमे कुर्वन्ति अहेतुकीं भक्ति इत्थं भूता गुणो हरे. I was a Atma Rama Jivan Mukta platform, but accidentally I heard 3 verses from one of my father's disciple. Because Lord's qualities are so attractive. Kurvanti ahetukim bhakti. I began to perform ahetuki bhakti. So it's like that. O king, generally the sages who are beyond the rules and prohibitions, nivritta of the sevate means nirgranta. Nirgranta means they don't have to follow all the so-called rules and regulations which are meant for grasas and brahmacharis. They are beyond those rules. Who are situated beyond the gunas, nairgunyastha. They are already in Brahman platform. Brahmabhuta prasannatma. Na sochati, na kankshati. Samas sarveshu bhuteshu. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavi astini sunicheva supakecha. Pandita means Brahmabhuta platform or Samadhi platform. By practicing jnana, they come to Brahmabhuta platform. By practicing yoga, they come to Samadhi platform. The qualities of Samadhi or Brahmabhuta platform is Pandita Samadarshana. Naito? prasannatma, na sochati, na kankshiti, samas sarveshu bhuteshu. Like that. So even they take pleasure in glorifying the qualities of the Lord. Ittam bhuta guno hari. Kurvanti ahetukim bhaktim. Ahetukim bhakti means glorifying the wonderful qualities of Lord. The Lord's qualities are so attractive, even the jnanis are attracted to it. Even Jivan Muktas and Samadhi yogis are attracted to it. The perfection is to realize the sweetness of the qualities and the form of the Lord. That is far superior to merging in Brahman. This verse gives some proof of the realization of the Lord. Those situated beyond the gunas, who have gone beyond rules and prohibitions, those who are liberated take pleasure in glorification of the qualities of the Lord, not in the happiness of impersonal Brahman. The word generally is used because some Jivan Muktas perform glorification of the Lord's qualities in order to merge in the Brahman. Bhakti amam abhijanati yavan ya chatma tatata tato mam tatato jnatva vishati tadantaram. Sometimes some jnanis may not want to enter into Vaikuntha, but they want to enter into Brahman only. No problem, let them enter into Brahman. And they do not take pleasure in those glorifications. They are only interested in taking pleasure of Brahman, not in the pleasure of Bhagavan. That's why they enter into Brahman. So it's like that. Still no problem. Then Sukadeva Goswami giving that understanding, then he talks about himself. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Aditavan Dvaparado Pitur Dvaipaya Nadaham. Yeah, please read the translation in the slides.
This scripture concerning the Supreme Lord is a Puran equal to the Lord himself. I learned this scripture from my father Vyasa at the beginning of the last part of the Upper Yuga. Idam
Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam. My dear king, I am not speaking something here and there. I am speaking to you Bhagavat Purana. Okay? Which is non-different from the Supreme Lord, which is Lord himself. Puranam Brahma Samhitam. I learned the scripture known as Bhagavatam from my father Vyasa at the very beginning of the last part of Dwapara Yuga. Dwapara Yuga has been divided into 3 parts. So first part is like morning Sandhya, the last part is like evening Sandhya. And throughout the day is like normal Yuga, Dwapara Yuga. So at the beginning of the evening Sandhya, my father was born, Vyasa was born. And eventually compiled Bhagavatam, he taught me that Bhagavatam. That Bhagavatam I'm teaching to you now. What is this astonishing work not heard before? True, it is astonishing. That is explained in this verse. Bhagavatam means what is spoken by the Lord or what is spoken in relation concerning the Lord. Idam Bhagavatam can mean this work which is about the Supreme Lord. Which talks about Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam and Bhajanam. That scripture is called Bhagavatam. Because Sukadeva Goswami told now what one should do? One should do Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam and Bhajanam about whom? Sarvatmana Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari. So for us to do some Shravanam, there should be some subject matter. So where do we get the Shravanam subject matter? From Bhagavatam. So like that.
There is no systematic following of Bhakti Yoga, or is it an integral part in the Varnashram system?
So I told you now, Bhakti becomes a internal anga. Drinking milk means default sugar is added. Sugar ke bina milk pee sakte nahi. Of course, there could be some specific conditions. Some people might not want to eat sugar so much, so they might drink milk as it is. But in general, mother giving milk to child, that means there is a glass of milk about 300 ml. Along with that, there is a sugar of 1.5 teaspoons. Yes or no? So Nishkama Karma Yoga means there is a Nishkama Karma Yoga practices plus little Bhakti. Jnana Yoga means Jnana practices with little Bhakti. Ashtanga Yoga means Ashtanga Yoga practices with little Bhakti. Bhakti के बिना वो सब अच्छे से प्रैक्टिस नहीं कर सकते. कुछ लोग जानबूझ के हट करके वो सिर्फ वही करते, बट वो करने से उसका रिजल्ट्स नहीं आएगा. रिजल्ट्स क्यों नहीं आएगा, कैसे नहीं आएगा, we will discuss in the 4th chapter. This is already discussed in the 5th chapter of the first canto. I don't know whether you remember or not, but we will again discuss in the 4th chapter.
Then It's the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara, or at least our current ISKCON. So it is like, it's not like a very traditional way of following. It is actually the complete summary of Bhagavad's philosophy, which is made in the form of a culture, and we are following.
Oh, not like that. These are two different paths. There is a traditional process which is followed by the Varnashrama practitioners. That is, as a Brahmacharya, one is trained in the Vedic culture. As a Grahastha, one is practicing Nishkama Karma Yoga. As a Vanaprasthar Sannyasi, one is practicing Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. Ultimately, with the help of Bhakti, one attains Sayujya. That is Dharmartha Kama Moksha process. There is a fifth process, that is Prema process. From the beginning, only exclusive Bhakti. So they mainly practice Bhakti, but little bit Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Ashtanga Yoga. Whenever, as per the time, place, circumstance, they add little bit here and there. That's why in Bhagavad Gita, our Acharya says that Nishkama Karma Yoga means Bhakti Mishra Karma. They're actually practicing Karma, but with little bit Bhakti inside. And Vanaprasthas and Sannyas, they are practicing Bhakti Mishra Jnana. They are actually practicing Jnana, but with little Bhakti. Or Bhakti Mishra Yoga. They are actually practicing Yoga, but with little Bhakti. That is the traditional process. But Bhakti process is the Prema path, the path of Prema. This is the path of Moksha. The path of Prema is Karma Mishra Bhakti. All our congregation devotees who are householders, they are practicing Karma Mishra Bhakti. So by default, Bhakti means Shravanam, Kirtanam. What is the verse of Prahlad Maharaj? याद है क्या? अभी नरसिंह चतुर्थी हो गया 2 हफ्ते पहले. हाँ, लाउडली, इतना लाउडली दीवार फटना चाहिए.
श्रवणम कीर्तनम विष्णु स्मरणम पाद सेवनम अर्चनम वंदनम दास्यम साख्यम आत्मनिवेदनम.
हाँ, और एक वर्स है, आधा बोलने से कुछ फायदा नहीं. व्हाट इज द नेक्स्ट वर्स?
I don't remember the verse.
बस.
This is the limits of the Bhakti Yoga.
Krishna. Prabhuji, don't give purports. If you remember the verse, tell. If you don't remember the verse, say I don't remember. But don't give purports.
I don't remember.
Iti Pumsharpita Vishnu Bhaktische Navalakshana. Bhakti contains these 9 lakshanas. Bhakti means these 9 things. There is nothing beyond that. When we say I am practicing Bhakti means I am practicing Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Whether it is for Vishnu, it is Vishnu Smaranam. Whether it is for Krishna, Krishna Smaranam. It is for Rama, Rama Smaranam. So traditionally it is Vishnu, but to be specific, we can replace Krishna with according to our Ishtadev. So that is flexible. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. If one is practicing only these 9 things, that kind of devotee is called as Ananda Bhakta. If one is practicing in addition to these 9 things, few other things, such as going to office, working morning to evening and earning salary at the end of the month, that is karma. That is as per one's varna and ashrama. That is a duty as per one's varna and ashrama. The ashrama is Grihastha ashram. The varna could be a Brahmanical occupation, or Kshatriya occupation, or Vaishya occupation, or Shudra occupation for livelihood. That becomes Karma Mishra Bhakti. They are performing their duties so that they can practice Bhakti properly. Their main motive of life is Bhakti only. But in order to maintain them, since they are Grihasthas now, they also work outside. Or they do some other occupation, whatever occupation they may do.
Is it to do with the consciousness or with the activity? We define it.
All, not just activity also. Activity main primary is the activity. And then
say in that case, the Brahmacharis who are staying in the temple, they may not be actually going for work.
Okay.
So
Wait. First of all, who is Brahmachari? We just discussed. Then are we fitting in that category?
Not in that traditional which we have defined.
Traditionally, practically, we are not fitting only.
Yeah.
So we are not Brahmacharis, first of all.
Okay.
Then we are also not Grihasthas. We are not married, so we are not Grihasthas.
Yeah.
So we are not.
So who we are? We are Apad Dharma Brahmacharis. And a escaping grihasthas. Apadharma brahmacharis and escaping grihastha duties. So,
can you explain more, Prabhu? Like, why did we define it as apadharma brahmachari?
We are living like the brahmacharis, that's why it is apadharma, and we are performing all the duties of a grihastha. The grihastha duties are all like cleaning, keeping the home nice and tidy, doing all the construction activities in the home, maintenance activities in the home. Ruko, pura hone do. Maintenance activities in the home, cooking activities in the home. Home means all these activities are there, na?
Yeah.
And earning activities in the home. And here what we are doing? आप लोग तो सुबह सुबह उठ के टेम्पल लाल क्लीन करते हैं, झाड़ू पोछा मार रहे हैं. And some brahmacharis go to kitchen, they cook. And some brahmacharis like us, maintenance department, construction department, this department, that department, office work. And ultimately some brahmacharis go out for book distribution. And go out for PR department activities, donation collection, cultivation, all these things, etc. Earning money, maintaining, doing household activities at home, and going out for earning money, all these things. Sab wahi ho raha hai na, grihastha dharma ho raha hai, but without the tagline of grihastha, we are doing all the grihastha activities. Traditionally, what are the brahmachari activities?
Cutting the wood.
आप भी कुछ बोलो, ऐसा नहीं, आपको नहीं पूछना, दोनों को पूछ रहा हूँ मैं.
Serving the ashram mainly,
serving Guru,
going begging for the Guru, begging charity for Guru,
studying scriptures only the main activity. Brahmachari means studying scriptures. अब स्कूल गए ना हम सब लोग, school is, what is the main activity in the school? Studying only na. By the way, once in a while we also do other activities also. Okay, studying in the main activity. So morning to evening they study, and evening and early morning hours they may do some other activities in order to facilitate gurus, because Guru treating all the school children as his own children. So there are all minimal activities. Getting firewood, taking care of the cows, all those things are very, very minimal activities, maybe 1 or 2 hours only in the entire day. But the main activity throughout the day performed is studies. Are we doing that? Which activities we are doing for more time?
Not studying. Now we are doing studying.
हाँ, आप लोग study कर रहे हैं थोड़ा बहुत.
But in general, not the case.
So आप लोग can be called as brahmacharis from studies point of view. But do you have the discrimination between the genders?
Yes.
Then you are not brahmachari.
So that is why we are called apadharma brahmacharis.
Apadharma brahmacharis and escapist from grihastha dharma.
This is violence.
What violence?
This is violence.
What violence? Violence to whom?
To ourselves also, to the ashram also. Ashram as the whole.
What can be done? There is no other way.
फिर क्या करना चाहिए? कुछ तो
जो कर रहे करते रहो बस. जो कर रहे करते रहो. जीवन में कुछ तो see, there is no excuse for, there is no alternative for doing something. But where you want to do? We are doing all the other activities here only. Whether you want to do here or you want to do at home, this is a simple choice. This is a adjustment. That's why I call it as apadharma brahmachari ashram. Apadharma means adjustment.
This is accepted.
What?
This we are following. It is accepted.
See, it is. That's why apadharma means what? Do the needful. Forget about whether we are following the tradition or not. Do the needful as per the time place circumstances.
Apadharma means emergency.
Emergency. Emergency चल रहा है ना अभी भी.
So it's not. We are not. मेरा question है कि we are not rejected. ऐसा कुछ है नहीं.
See, simple to understand. The principal activity of a brahmachari, if at all you want to be continuing as a brahmachari, means studying and teaching others. That is the principal activity, studies. But unfortunately, we are not trained in that activity from childhood. We have already studied in the school, and then we have also worked outside. So we have already dealt with matter so much. Now we cannot negate that experience completely. So we already have our inclination in the society activities. So we have to dotel them in the devotional service. So we already have inclination in the household activities. So dotel here, engage here. We do all these things for a few years. When the heart becomes purified, then the primary activity of Brahmacharya becomes preaching. Preaching means studying Shastra, teaching Shastra, and helping others practicing Bhakti. That will be the principal activity.
Aren't we actually equating Brahmacharya with Brahmanical qualities only? Restricting.
Yeah, if it's a Brahmana Brahmachari, तो Brahmanical activity रहेगा ना?
Then only it will come studying and teaching. But a Brahmachari can be
if a Guru Kshatriya Brahmachari, even a Kshatriya, then he can be in administration activities, no issues. But see, though, because Brahmachari phase ends by 25 years, it cannot be termed for the rest of the life as Brahmachari. Generally, traditionally, it is not so. Though they might be called as Naistika Brahmacharis, but eventually they will be called as Vanacharis or Sadhus or Munis or Rishis, like something like that. The identity changes. But in ISKCON scenario, the identity remains same only, Brahmachari only. Which is actually not. That's why Govind Prabhu is very not happy with this term called Brahmachari. This is Swayam Sevak. We are all voluntaries. Voluntarily, we have come here and wearing some saffron color cloth, and we are voluntarily serving. Outside, everyone is serving, and here we are serving in the temple. That is the only difference. So we should never call ourselves Brahmachari like that. Govind Prabhu used to tell.
But in the context of Prabhupada, he addressed them as a Brahmachari as a title.
That's why I am saying Apadharma.
Okay.
So during Apadharma, we will be called like that only.
Okay.
In emergency, the Rashtrapati will be the Prime Minister. Whatever he says, that is the rule. That will be the rule of the Parliament. But normally, whatever Parliament says, Rashtrapati is supposed to follow that. Supposed to listen that and okay, he has to say okay for that. So it's like that. Okay, already 4:45, 10 more minutes. This scripture, Bhagavatam, is filled with pastimes of the Lord, revealed through the questions and answers between you and me. It contains realization of the Atma through discussing creation, maintenance, and destruction for the benefit of you and others. It is the cream of all Upanishads, and it is the essence. It is eternally perfect. It appeared through my father Vasudeva. It is equal to the Supreme Brahman, or it is established in Brahman, or it establishes the position of Brahman, or by practicing it one attains Brahman. Brahman means not just Brahman. Brahman means Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan according to one's inclination. How did you obtain it, my dear sir? It was taught to me, Aditavan. I became student of my father. So he taught me everything. The meaning of scripture is impossible to learn by dint of one's intelligence. One need to taught. One need to hear from one's guru. Otherwise, one cannot understand the meaning of Bhagavatam. Since Vyasadeva appeared in Satyavati not long before Lord Krishna's appearance, he could not appear at the beginning of Dwapara Yuga. The Dwapara means at the end of Dwapara, and Dwapara Ado means at the beginning of the last part of Dwapara Yuga. So sometimes when you see the Sanskrit Dwapara Ado, that means Sukadeva Goswami studied Bhagavatam at the beginning of Dwapara Yuga, like that one may say. Not like that. At the end of Dwapara Yuga and at the beginning of the third part of Dwapara Yuga, Vyasa appeared and taught Bhagavatam to Sukadeva Goswami. It's like that.
Then why is it mentioned as Ado Prabhuji?
I don't know. Ask Vyasadeva.
Question.
Why did it is mentioned Ado? Ado means that's what it is. Dwapara means at the end of Dwapara. And Dwapara Ado means at the beginning of the last part of Dwapara Yuga.
Okay.
So Krishna Prabhuji left, disappeared, went to his own abode. At the end of Dwapara Yuga, ऐसे बोलते हैं ना?
That is the last day of Dwapara Yuga. Yes.
Last day of Dwapara.
After Krishna disappeared, the next second is Kali Yuga.
फिर उसके बाद ही भागवतम शुरू हुआ ना?
कौन बोला? You read the book. I gave you the book ना, first chapter appearance of Bhagavatam. पढ़ा ही नहीं अभी तक.
फिर परीक्षित महाराज कैसा बोला?
वो भी आप पढ़ो, वो पुस्तक में है, सब है उसमें. फर्स्ट कैंट हो गया ना आपका? अभी प्रश्न पूछ रहे क्या? फर्स्ट कैंट में सब डिटेल्स है. First,
but
appearance of Bhagavatam is all mentioned in the first canto only. 4th chapter, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Everything is already over.
No, but the answer to this my question is also there.
Obviously. First canto revealing everything. When Bhagavatam was compiled, when Vyasadeva compiled Bhagavatam, when he taught Bhagavatam to Sukadeva Goswami, when Sukadeva Goswami taking Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, everything is there in that book.
Well, that means Kali Yuga had started, na?
Obviously. Now Parikshit Maharaj, how old is he? How old is he now?
Parikshit Maharaj.
हाँ.
तब ना?
अभी जो डिस्कशन हो रहा है अभी कितना साल है, कितना उम्र है उनका?
50 या 60 कुछ है ना?
कौन बोला?
सुना था मैंने लेक्चर.
किधर?
लेक्चर में कितना?
किसका लेक्चर में?
अभी वो याद नहीं है.
Now he is 60 years old. He became king at the age of 35. He ruled for 25 years. 25 years back, Kali Yuga began. So now he is reading Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami. Chapter 1 पढ़ो. Bhagavata विचार.
उसमें आपने एज भी दिया है.
परिनिष्ठितोऽपि नैर्गुण्य उत्तम श्लोक लीलया गृहीत चेत राजर्षे आख्यानं यद् अधीतवान्.
O king, though I was fixed in Brahman and beyond the gunas, my mind became attracted to the pastimes of the Lord. I thus learned about his pastimes.
So though I was on Brahman platform, Parinishthitopi Narigunne, being situated beyond the three modes, Brahmabhuta Prasannatma platform, but by hearing Bhagavatam from my father, I have become fixed in Bhagavan aspect of the Supreme Lord. So like that, his transition is giving an example. So his heart could have changed. So by hearing Bhagavatam from his father, you are very famous. From birth, you had realization of Brahman and left the house to walk the world. You did not even learn from your father who was pursuing you. How then can you say this now? Parikshit Maharaj is asking. Then Sukadeva Goswami said that, though I was fixed in Brahman, my mind became attracted to the pastimes of the Lord. I am the proof that the pastimes of the Lord are answer to the sweeter than the realization of Brahman. Hare Gunakshipta Matir Bhagavan Badarayani Adyagan Mahad Akyanam Nityam Vishnu Janapriya. Sukadeva, the son of Vasudeva, whose mind became distracted from the trance by the qualities of Krishna. That means he was distracted from the Brahman platform by the qualities of Lord Krishna, and who became attracted to the Vaishnavas, studied this Bhagavatam. He returned home and heard Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami. Heard Bhagavatam from Srila Vyasadeva. Then Parikshit Maharaj says, my dear sir, I should also attain this rare thing. I desire that you should make me taste it from head to foot. Seeing this eagerness in Parikshit, Sukadeva speaks now. Sukadeva Parikshit Maharaj told that, my dear sir, you tell that one should approach a guru and hear from guru, then only one understand Bhagavan. So I am approaching you as my guru. Please give me the same taste that you have attained from your father. Then Sukadeva Goswami says that, Tadaham te abidasyami mahapaurushiko bhavan tas yaste satadanam aso san mukunde mati sati.
I will tell them to you, you are a great personality who among the faithful will quickly fix your pure mind on Krishna.
I will tell then. It is not them, it is actually then. Then I will tell you, I will tell them to you, whatever I have heard from my father, I will teach you everything. You are a great personality who among the faithful will quickly fix your pure mind on Krishna. Since you are not an ordinary person, you are a great soul. I will definitely speak the same Bhagavatam to you, by which you can also fix your mind on Lord Krishna without fail. You are a person who should attain Krishna, who is the Mahapurusha. Having faith in Srimad Bhagavatam, pure mind will quickly be fixed on Lord Krishna. Or you are a great personality whose mind then when it has faith will be fixed on the Supreme Lord. It should be understood that the Bhagavatam should be heard from the first verse, starting with Janma Dyasya Yata, all the way up to the last verse, ending with Vishnu Ratam Amunchat. So like that, one should hear Bhagavatam from the beginning to the end, so that one will get attraction towards Lord Krishna. So in that way. Thus, the following statement is completely acceptable. O Ambarisha, please hear continually the Bhagavatam spoken by Sukadeva Goswami. Sukadeva Goswami speaks Bhagavatam from 2nd canto, first chapter to 12th canto, 5th chapter. And Sukadeva Goswami speaks Bhagavatam from the first chapter, 1st canto to 13th chapter of the 12th canto. So Sukadeva Goswami, now in response to your questions, I will speak the same Bhagavatam. Because you are a great personality, hearing the scripture will quickly fix your pure mind on Krishna. So like that. Yes, Prabhu.
Here, O Ambarisha, please hear continually the Bhagavatam spoken by Sukadeva. So who is saying this to whom? And Sukadeva Bhagavatam was more recent and Ambarish was more earlier.
This is a verse from Padma Purana.
Yes.
One second. Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam. Hare Krishna. So, see, all the scriptures are compiled by Vyasadeva only, na? Same time. He compiled one book after the other. So there in the Padma Purana, Narada Muni might be speaking to Ambarish Maharaj, saying that, my dear Ambarish, you should hear Bhagavatam, which was spoken by Sukadeva Goswami. Or which will be spoken by Sukadeva Goswami. It will be like a future tense. So, like that. See, in one sense, see, Bhagavatam means not a book Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam means Krishna Katha, Hari Katha, or Narayana Katha.
I am confused more with Sukadeva Goswami, mentioning of the word Sukadeva Goswami.
Yeah, yes, true.
So
because
did he actually recite Bhagavatam in earlier to anyone else also?
No, all the scriptures are Bhagavatam only, na? Garuda Purana is also Bhagavatam, Vishnu Purana is also Bhagavatam, Padma Purana is also Bhagavatam. They are all Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam means the pastimes of Bhagavan. But Sukadeva Goswami's Harikatha is a special Bhagavatam. Because all other Bhagavatams gives highest importance to sadhana bhakti and dharmartha kama moksha. Aishwarya bhakti is given most importance in all other Puranas. But Srimad Bhagavatam spoken by Srila Sukadeva Goswami gives highest importance to Prema Bhakti. Raganuga Bhakti. Raganuga Bhakti is given highest importance. The glories of the gopis are highlighted in the Bhagavatam. In other scriptures also glories of gopis might have been spoken, but they are not put on the highest platform. In the other scriptures, the Aishwarya Bhakti is put on the highest platform. But in the Bhagavatam, Madhurya Bhakti is put on the highest platform. So, like that. So, Shrunvata Shraddhaya Nityam Grunthasa Shishtam Kalena Na Atidirgena Bhagavan Vishudevudi. If a person hears Bhagavatam regularly, okay, taking matter very seriously, the Supreme Lord will manifest in the heart of that person very soon. And convinced that the Jiva does not actually suffer loss of knowledge, but not yet realizing it directly, I will destroy this lack of this realization by service to your lotus feet. Sevayaham charanam. So, it like that. Yusmas charana sevayaham paranude. This verse is spoken by Vidura unto Maitreya. Vidura is saying that, my dear sir, I don't know whether I will receive the knowledge about Atma and Paramatma or I don't know all these things. But I know one thing. By serving the lotus feet of the spiritual master, I will gain the realization of Bhagavan. So I will serve you and get the realization. That is only I know. I don't know about other things. Like that. Sevayaham paranude. Yushmat charana sevayaham paranude. So that is the understanding. Therefore, it is understood that in this scripture, bhakti is described. Among the angas of bhakti, which one is defined as the chief one, standing out like an emperor, exerting power everywhere. Bhakti means 9. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. But among the 9, which stands excellently. That is established in the 11th verse. Etan nirvidyamananam ichyatam akutobhayam yoginam nrupanirnitam harer namanukirtanam. Please read quickly.
O king, continuous chanting of the name of the Lord has been prescribed for devotees, for those with desires for liberation and material elevation, and for those satisfied with the self.
Yeah, either it is for nirvidyamanas or for the ichyatam or for the akutobhayam. The great sages of the past have declared that Harer Nama Anukirtan is the best process for the highest perfection. So what does it mean? Among the Angas of Bhakti, among the 9 Angas of Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam and Smaranam are the 3 best one, which has mentioned in the previous verse number 5. This has been stated in verse number 5. Among those 3, chanting is the chief. In chanting, however, there is chanting of Lord's Nama, Lord's Guna, Lord's Leela, and Lord's Rupa also. Nama Kirtan, Guna Kirtan, Leela Kirtan, Rupa Kirtan. But among these 3, Nama Kirtanam is best. Okay? And among those, Nama Kirtanam, Anukirtanam is best. That means chanting the name according to one's bhakti. One Anukirtanam is according to one's inclination, chanting the names of Lord Krishna, or chanting the names of Lord Vishnu, chanting the names of Lord Rama. Second one is Anukirtanam is continuous chanting, regularly 24/7, something like that. Maybe with bead bag, may not be with bead bag. So like that. Or it means continuous chanting. It is defined by the previous acharyas, not just by me. Therefore, there is no need of inquiry for proof. In chanting, there is no fear of purity or impurity concerning time, place, person, and utensils. This means that even outcasts who cannot tolerate serving the Lord do not hesitate to chant. For other processes such as Nishkama Karma Yoga, it cannot be done by everyone. Only Nishkama Karma Yoga mainly performed by Vaishyas, Kshatriyas and Brahmanas. Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga can be performed only by Vanaprastha sannyasis, which is only for Kshatriyas and Brahmanas.
Nishkam Karma can perform by Brahmanas,
Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. And Jnana and Ashtanga Yoga for Kshatriya and Brahmanas. Not even for Vaishyas. But Bhakti can be practiced by anyone, even the outcast people. Though if the outcast people, if they are put into deity altar room, if they are allowed to do deity worship, they may not be able to do it, they may not have inclination to do it, or outside people may not agree to it. But chanting ke liye, there is no such kind of restriction. Anyone can chant, everywhere can chant, no one will have any objection. Chanting is such kind of versatile process. Anyone and everyone can do it, and no one will have any objection to it. But for other process, there are so many restrictions. Since even impure persons are allowed to chant, moreover, there is no good, better, and best for sadhakas and siddhas. Chanting is chanting, whether it is chanted by sadhaka or siddha. Both are chanting only, na? So in that way, chanting is for those who are indifferent to all desires, including the desire for liberation. But this chanting is meant for those who are freed from bhukti and mukti. No material desires and no sahajya mukti. It is for those who desire material things. Even chanting can be done by those who are desiring material benefits. Ichyatam. Such persons can chant just as they make offering for certain goals. Thus the meaning is as follows. It is recommended for the unallied devotees. Nirvidyamana means for unallied devotees who does not have any material ambitions, who does not have any ambition to enter into Brahman. And for those who desire Svarga or liberation, who want Svarga and Apavarga, and for those who are satisfied in the self, Yoginam. It means that according to these different methods, one will get corresponding results, not the same result. So Nirvidyamanana will go to Golok Vrindavan, and Ichatam will go to Svarga or Apavarga or Sarishti Salokya, and for those who are satisfied in the self, Yoginam, they will go to Apavarga. Something, Vaikuntha also. It's like that.
Yoginam means they also can go to Salokya and Sarishti.
Here at least those who are satisfied in the self means, then Yogi means your Ashtanga Yogi or Jnana Yogi, Sarishti and Salokya, not Samipya and Sarupya.
Yeah, Sarishti and Sarupya.
That unallied devotees, there we can include Samipya, Sarupya and Ananya. So there it comes. Whatever may be one's inclination, but bhakti. But within bhakti, chanting will have no restrictions. Anyone can do chanting. For other processes like Padasevanam, Archanam, there could be some restrictions. Who can do, who cannot do. But chanting ke liye koi restriction nahi kisi ka. That's why the devotees of the past have declared that best among all the processes is chanting. But among chanting, Nama chanting. Among Nama chanting, Anukirtanam is the best. One is continuous Kirtanam. Second one is according to one's inclination, one's desire. Kirtanam only, but according to one's desire. So I perform Kirtan. Why? For what? Want to go to Vaikuntha. I perform Kirtan for going to Goloka. I perform Kirtan for going to Swarga. I perform Kirtan for going to Brahman. No problem. Akama sarvakamova mokshakama udardi tivrena bhakti yogena ejata purushampara. With a desire, without desire, with a desire to attain moksha, no problem. Perform bhakti. It's like that. Kim pramattasya bahubi parokshair hayaneriha varam muhurtam viditam ghatate shreyaseyata. Yes, you read.
What is the use of many years of the materially engaged person without noticing that those years have passed uselessly? It is better to know that one moment has passed uselessly, because then one can inquire into the best engagement.
So Sukadeva Goswami said Anukirtanam. So continuous Kirtanam. Parishit Mara said, my dear sir, what continuous Kirtan? I only have 7 days. I don't have much time. Then he says that, what is the use of having many years of the materially engaged person without noticing that those years are passing uselessly? It is better to know that one moment has passed uselessly, because then one can inquire into the best engagement. If the time is wasted in useless endeavor, there is no use. But if one knows that, okay, this moment is wasted in material activity, then in the next moment he can engage in the spiritual activity. What kind of spiritual activity? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. Too much. Kirtanam. Still too much. Anukirtan, Nama Kirtan. So like that. Oh, I have very little time left, only 7 days. What practice I am supposed to follow? One should not worry in this way. This is expressed in these 3 verses. 12, 13, 14 talks about that. What is the use of living many years without knowing that they have been passed uselessly? To know that a moment has passed uselessly is better, because by knowing so, one can make effort for spiritual life. He will not waste the next moment in that way. It is not the quality of life matters. Sorry, it is not the quantity of life matters. It is better to have one muhurta of life, knowing about the best engagement, than to have hundreds of years not knowing it. What is the use of having hundreds of years and not knowing what to do? It is better to have one muhurta only, but knowing exactly what to do and how to do. That will be for one's good. Then he says that, how come one muhurta will give me perfection? Then Sukadeva Goswami, yes, it gave perfection to Katvanga Maharaj. Katvango nama rajarshir jnatva yattami hayusha muhurta sarvamusrujya gatavan abhayam hari.
The sage among kings Katvanga, knowing how long he had to live, from that moment gave up everything on earth and surrendered to the Lord, the shelter of fearlessness.
Katvanga Maharaj, invited by the Devatas, he went to Swarga and began to fight for the Devatas. So at the end, when Lord Shiva gave birth to, Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati gave birth to Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati gave birth to
Kartikeya.
Kartikeya. When Kartikeya was born, when he became the in charge for the commander-in-chief of the armies of the Devatas, the Devatas stayed Katvanga Muni. My dear sir, thank you very much for helping all these years. Please ask for a benediction. Then Katvanga Maharaj asked, please tell me how much time I have in my life. And they went into trance. They said, My dear sir, only one muhurta. Then he said, please transport me to Bharatavarsha. They said, there is no one in your family. So many years have passed, so many decades have passed, so many centuries have passed. He said, no problem. Still, please transport me to Bharatavarsha immediately. Because he left with one muhurta only. He came down to Bharatavarsha. He went to a holy place and sitting in front of the deity of Lord Vishnu. He meditated on the wonderful activities and qualities of the Lord Vishnu. Then he immediately went to spiritual world, Vaikuntha.
One murta is 48 minutes.
48 minutes. Yes, one murta is 48 minutes. So he says that, my dear king, just by 48 minutes, Khatvanga Maharaj attained perfection. You have 7 days. Why do you worry? Tavapi etarhi kauravya saptaham jivitavadi upakalpya kalpaya tassarvam tavadyad samparayikam.
O descendant of the Kurus, Kauravya.
Oh, don't read the bracket.
But you have 7 days remaining in your life. Make all necessary arrangements in this time for your destination after that.
You have not one muhurta, but 7 days. Make necessary arrangements for your afterlife liberation, destination. Tavapi etarhi means tavatu, but your time on the other hand. Khatvanga Maharaj just had one muhurta only, but on the other hand, you have 7 long days. So make all the arrangements for your future destination in these 7 days. Yes, Samparayikam means sadhana for attaining the next life. Please do all that is necessary. Yadrichaya matkata dau jata shraddhostu yapuman nanirvinno natisakto bhakti yogo se siddhida. Says that, what is the qualification for practicing Vedi sadhana bhakti? If somehow or other by good fortune, yadrichaya, one develops faith, jata chatta astu, in hearing and chanting my glories, mat katadav. Such a person, being neither very disgusted with the material world, nor very much attached to material life, should achieve perfection through the path of loving devotion unto me by the practice of Vedi sadhana bhakti. The qualification to begin Vedi sadhana bhakti is that one should have faith in Krishna Katha. One should not have too much attachment to this material world, not too much attachment to the material world. There are the 3 things which are necessary for a person to begin Vedi sadhana bhakti. It's like that. Anyway, Parikshit Maharaj, Jata Shraddha. Shraddha should be there in hearing. Jata Shraddha mat katadav. In hearing Lord's Katha, Krishna Katha, one should have faith. Otherwise, what bhakti one will practice? Shravanam ke bina kirtanam chalu hota nahi. Without Shravanam and Kirtanam, there will be no Smaranam. Without Smaranam, there is no going back home back to Godhead. So, like that, Sukadeva Goswami prepared Parikshit Maharaj to hear Bhagavatam. So, my dear Parikshit, Khatvanga Maharaj had only one murta, he attained perfection. You have 7 days. You can also attain perfection. Don't worry. Make necessary preparations. The highest perfection is attaining children of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. The means is Shravanam, Kirtanam and Smaranam. For whom? It is up to you. Okay, bas. Hare Krishna, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Bhakta ki jai. We'll meet tomorrow. I'm extremely sorry.